glad you're here with us today at Bricks and Banter, the podcast that discusses homes and happenings and life and stuff. I'm Shelly Demetrellis, and I'm joined with
Seth Demetrellis.
That's right. We're real estate agents in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Glad you're here with me today, Seth.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna have a good time.
Sure, hope so.
Yeah, 100%. I think in today's episode, we're going to talk about, like the first important thing in buying a home. Like a lot of people think they know, but, maybe you don't. I don't know. A lot of people, and even so, a lot of people bought homes a long time ago and things change. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about a really cool trend for 2024 in home interior. And then some, fast questions, some quick step questions to just kind of get to know each other and maybe a little education too.
Okay.
Some fun facts. Yeah. We want to give a huge shout out to Tim Chase and at 719 Lending. We're using the 719 Lending podcast studio here in Colorado Springs. So they'll be able to help you with any mortgage needs, refinancing if you need them. You can contact them at 844-719-LEND. 844-719-LEND. 719 Lending. Kind of makes sense. So we're real appreciative to Tim and his office. But let's get down to the brass tacks of this episode. Episode 1. It's our first
episode, yeah.
First one.
Episode.
First of many.
At least a couple.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So make sure you stick around to the end. We're gonna put Seth in the hot seat, ask him some great questions, and then we're gonna want your responses as well. See what you think. So stick around to the end; it'll be worth it. But let's start off with our first topic of the day. Topic 1.
First topic.
All buying a house. So what's your advice? What's the first thing that you would advise somebody to do?
When it actually comes to the buying process or thinking about getting into the buying process?
Well, we're all thinking about it, right?
Right.
I think, but as a real estate agent, what's your advice?
Well, honestly, my advice would be to know yourself and know what you're looking for and know your finances before you even start to go looking. You've got to be aware of your spending and your current situation and what's going to be good for you within the next couple of years. Like, what's your plan? What's your outline? What's your goal? That's at least where, as a young person myself, my mind goes when I'm starting to think about purchasing my first home is what are my goals? What are my ambitions for the next couple of years? And how does buying some bricks fit into that? Right.
Got to get your first pile of bricks. That's for sure.
Yep.
Love that. Yeah, definitely. I would agree. We all have big dreams. I want to buy a house. I'm going to buy a mansion. I'm going to be on Cribs,
Right.
For those of us back in the day, MTV Cribs was a thing. So, not anymore. Although there are guys on the internet that do, can I see your apartment? Where
It's true. Yeah.
There are those guys. So it's kind of the same thing. It's just not on TV anymore. But definitely got those big dreams and sometimes maybe don't have the cash flow to go with those big dreams. But you got to start somewhere, So I think it's okay, to maybe start small. But definitely knowing your finances.
And a big part of that is knowing your goals as well. If you're planning to live by yourself, a smaller place would be probably better because you're going to have, a cheaper mortgage. But if you plan on having a couple of buds with you, it might be time to get into that bigger pile of bricks. It just depends really on what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go. So like I said, my advice would be to figure out what you want in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, making sure that, it fits your needs.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's that whole need-want thing, right?
Right.
I don't know.
Everybody wants a megalo mansion with a 15-car garage, but if you don't have a car, you might not need that.
That's also
Just depends
true.
where you're at.
That's also so true. I love that. But so I would definitely say knowing your goals and, having that goal. Because, a lot of times people are like, I want to buy a house. And then, maybe they can't do so for 6 months, a year, 2 years. But, knowing what to do during that time of how do I make sure my finances are going to fit my goal? Or how do I, adjust that? Because, you don't have to make an immediate change, like, oh, I'm going to stop spending money on all the things.
No, yeah, you still got to live your life.
Yeah, but just making that small change, that like 1% change of like, you know what, I am going to start and I'm going to try and put, even if it's $100 a month or whatever that is, $500 a month into a savings account. And, that's going to be like my down payment. So when it comes time, and there's so many options out there for like loans, especially first time home buyers. There's so many assistance programs. Again, that's where 719 Lending comes in, contacting them and they can walk you through all those, for FHA loans.
There's a lot to learn.
If you're a veteran, there are benefits there. I mean, that's fabulous because, you don't have to make a down payment, but still your finances have to be straight. Got to have that debt to income ratio.
Right. The way the metaphor that I like to think about it as it's building a Lego set, right? You're thinking about your first house and, whether that's going to be a single family home or somewhere with a lot of land, you're getting into a Lego set and you got to start building those pieces one by one. So whether that's saving an extra $10 a month for somewhere you're going to live with an HOA, or whether it's, building the foundation of that set by setting out your down payment, you got to just over time start putting it together for all the pieces to come together to make the final product in the end.
That's a great way of looking at it. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, if we could just build a home out of Legos,
that would be pretty
like that. That's a pile of bricks right there.
Well, and the additions would be so easy.
They really would.
You could just be able to customize it to really whatever you need.
I feel like I've seen that on the internet. I feel like somebody is building a house with a Lego type.
Oh, probably.
I feel like that's happening.
Probably.
Like for sure, right?
Well, with the shipping container homes, I mean, they basically are Lego homes, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
those
if
are
you think
cool.
about it, I do like those. Yes.
Those are kind of cool.
Right.
So okay. Final take on that one. Gotta know your finances.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gotta budget.
Yep.
Gotta, watch those major purchases, checking your credit, making sure you got the credit, good to hook on that. And then having the goals. I love that.
Yep. And, my final takeaway is you don't have to be perfect in every single box, whether it's, having all the money for the down payment or having perfect credit. You just got to be checking good enough. Just keep working towards the goal and keep making all these little improvements and little changes to have it be better. So.
I love that.
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I would definitely say that's first piece. First piece in, being a buyer of a home. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good time, especially for, young kids.
Yep.
So
I think a lot of us out there, that's kind of our goal right now, is to get into our first house.
I think so. I think that's a great goal.
Right.
It's something that, you put roots down, and then once you live there a little while, you can, move up, move down, move over.
Yeah.
You may have to move over if you start filling your house with people. So,
oh yeah.
Depending on what kind of people, but absolutely love that. Okay. Good first topic.
All right.
How you feel about that?
I'm doing good.
You doing all right over there?
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How you doing?
That's what I'm saying.
I know, right? I think so. I think it'll be all right. All right. Moving on. I wanted to find something else to kind of go with home since we are real estate agents. I know later we're going to, go down the road of just, kind of having some fun, and because that's who we are. I mean, let's get real.
Yeah.
I mean, we like to have fun. So, but I was looking in home trends for 2024.
Okay.
And I wanted to throw this word at you and see if you know what it means.
Okay.
Because evidently one of the home trends in 2024 for decorating your home is the biophilic home trend.
They come again now?
Biophilic.
Biophilic.
Yeah, BIOPHILIC. Biophilic. Do you know what that means? Biophilic. You ever heard that? Because I'd never heard it before. So I'm kind of excited because now I know a new word. How to decorate my home.
Can I get it used in a sentence?
Can I get it used in a sentence? Let's see. Yes. The wood in her home made it seem like it was designed around being biophilic.
Oh.
No? You got nothing? No? Here, I'll give you another one. I'll give you clue two.
Clue two.
Clue two. You only get 2 clues? Is that enough, 2?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't limit it at that. But yeah, okay, fine. Clue two.
Okay, clue two. The water feature in her home made it seem very biophilic.
Well, she's got nice wood and she's got a nice water feature. I'm going to guess that it might mean particular to a certain environment?
Yes.
Really?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Here you go. It's kind of like bringing the outdoors in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Means relating to or characterized by biophilia, which is the human's tendency to interact with nature.
Oh.
So
okay.
like bringing the nature inside.
Yeah, not exactly what I had in mind. I was thinking more of a certain region being, implemented into the home features. But
I mean, gotcha.
I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
Okay, I think we call it a win.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's a win, right?
Like 60%. I'll take a 60.
I mean, you're right 60% of the time, right?
Sure, 100% of the time.
100% of the time, you're 60% right. That's what it is.
That is an absolute fact.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, they had some really cool things. Because, I want to get your take on like water features in the home, like a fountain. What do you think about those?
Ooh, I mean, I can't necessarily say that I'm a fan, but I'm also not I'm not a hater. I haven't personally ever had a water feature in my home. So of course I think about the pros of how great it would look and how, it would be a speaking point. But if there was a lot of maintenance involved.
Oh yeah. I get the maintenance.
I would pass on the maintenance. But if it's just a koi pond where it's relatively minimal maintenance.
It's like in a pool.
Right. As opposed to running water that you would need to have a collection system for.
Right.
So I would say that, I wouldn't mind a water feature in the home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I've been in places where they have water features, and sometimes it's you just wondered, did I leave the sink on? Or I guess you get used to it though.
Right.
And then the other side of that is it's calming.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if I sat down next to it, I'd just be napping all the time. No, I'm just going to sit here for, and I just fall asleep. Oh, stinking water feature.
Well, I do understand what you're saying, but I think it could be one of those that you get used to over time, like a fan. If you've had a fan on for at least a year, if you've had a fan on for a year, you don't notice the noise anymore until it's gone.
Yeah.
So it depends on how long.
That's true.
And how much time you spent by the water feature.
Right.
100%.
That's true. And I think more when I think of bringing the outdoors in, I think, and I don't know why this is, but why is it you think of a bathroom?
I don't know. I think it's a very primal thing to be using the restroom outdoors.
Maybe. I don't know. But you see like spa, which is another trend, was more spa type bathrooms this year.
Oh, okay.
But you think of pebbles in the bottom of the shower, that kind of tile, and because that would be considered biophilic. And then
cool.
Maybe a water feature in there, and then plants and things I don't know. I just think of it
Well, it also might have something to do with the rising popularity of the rain shower heads.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of I guess you can consider that a water feature.
I guess it is. That would be a water feature, wouldn't it?
Right.
Absolutely.
So you could, that might be contributing to why you.
Maybe so.
Think about it like that.
I mean, I personally, in my house, I have a lot of plants.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, a little, every now and again, because I might forget to water them, but that's okay, because I can always bring them back. So, but I got a lot of plants, so I consider that my biophilic contribution in my house. So,
got some wood tables.
Got some wood tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a big plant person.
Not a big plant person.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, we could fix that. You just need to get yourself a big snake plant, because you only got to water them once every month.
Oh.
And they're great.
Well, that I could handle.
Or a cactus.
Okay. Yep.
You could probably handle a cactus.
Yeah.
You'd walk past it 8 times, but then on the 9th, you'd be like, oh, maybe I should water that. And then 4 days later, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I was going to water that. And then a week after that, you might actually water it. But it would probably be okay.
It's true.
Yeah. So I think there might be some plants out there that you might be able to handle. But have you ever been in a house that has a lot of those features? I love the houses that have the big doors where you can open them and have the outdoor indoor living. Mm-hmm. I mean, we don't tend to see a ton of that here, I guess, in Colorado Springs, because we have wind and it's cold a lot of the times. But in the South. Well, in like Hawaii, I just like imagine if it lived in Hawaii, that would be like all the time.
Mm-hmm. That actually reminds me. I was showing a couple clients a few months back, and we were in this quaint little place. It was quite nice, and it had this newly redone barn door on it. Oh. And I was a big fan of that. I've always been a fan of the barn doors inside.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Huh. I think they're just very neat, because they're up on rollers, and it's a big, heavy door. Right. I've always just been a fan. And they're always staying something unique, something, and they got a lot of character to them.
That's true.
That's what I like about it, is you look at any other white painted door, and it's just a white door. But I feel like barn doors, they have a lot more, character, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've been a few places that had, when I think of like biophilic, I think of like hotels and like, like you go to Vegas and you go to like, the fancy with all the botanical gardens inside and like things like that, or a lot of the really nice wood features they may have, or they obviously have a ton of fountains, but
I don't know if I'd consider the Vegas Strip biophilic.
I don't know, maybe. I mean, it just kind of reminded me of that when I was reading about this, and it was talking about, what it meant. And I was like, well, I do have plants. That's about where it ended. And I was like, occasionally I might leave the sink running, which is not a good thing. No. But, I was just like, okay, we have a fish tank in my house. So it's, got some fish. But,
okay.
I mean, other than that, like that's, I guess, as far as mine goes.
Okay.
So, but maybe in the future I'll have like one of those nice big doors you can just open up. And
I got a wood table.
You got a wood table. I love that. I love that. That's
really quite it.
Yeah. I do like wood in houses though. Like I like really like predominant pieces of like, interesting wood features. I think those are kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So they kind of go in and out, with style and things like that. But now wood paneling from like the, 70s, maybe not.
I don't know. That stuff's pretty sweet.
You think so?
No. It's not bad.
It's not bad, he says. Bad. Oh, my gosh. So, okay. Any other thoughts about that? Biophilic. Now you know. So now when you're out showing houses, you can be like, oh, that water feature makes this home look so biophilic.
Yeah, maybe not.
Why not? You'll remember it. You will. And then your clients will be like, oh, my gosh.
They'll be like, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Right. They'll be like,
what did he even just
really
say?
Smart. Like, he knows what he's talking about.
You go, what? Does this guy know what I'm looking for? Or?
I mean, you could break it down and be like, look, there's a fountain. That's cool. Right?
Right.
Yeah, maybe so. Or, I don't know, if you're showing like the $1 Million Homes, maybe a lot of them have these features in them.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
Be showing those homes.
Although they're starting to show up in just more homes in general. That's why it's becoming a trend.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't know about a fountain in my house. That might not be my jam, but like I can get behind some wood features and some botanical stuff.
Maybe a koi pond.
That would be kind of cool. So
right.
I do enjoy the koi fish.
Right.
Well, I have a fish tank. Like I said, that's about it.
Right.
That's where it kind of ends. Mm-hmm. It has a random goldfish in it, but that's about all. That's about all there is. So
okay.
Anyway, yeah, I just wanted, one of the home trends. And then, like I said, it kind of went to the spa bathrooms, which I like, but they're kind of minimalistic and like they look like super clean all the time, which is kind of nice, but then you're afraid to touch them.
Right.
Like I don't want to, can I use that towel?
Or is it a decorative towel?
Right. Do they have those anymore? Do people have? I mean, back when I was a kid, that was the thing. You didn't touch those towels because they were decorative.
I honestly don't think that's a thing anymore. No. I mean, we have some that we use for staging when we were taking photos for properties.
Yeah, that's true.
When it comes to, lived-in homes, I would venture to guess that nobody has that anymore.
Yeah, maybe we can get some comments on that. Right. You still have decorative towels in your bathroom that nobody's allowed to touch. Like, is that a thing still?
The decorative pillows, those are still a thing. Very much a thing. I can't do it with those.
I struggle with it.
Towels, I'm not sure.
But I mean, is that like a thing? Like, when your guests are coming over, do you pull out the nice fancy towels? Because that used to be a thing. That was like a thing back in the day. And back in my day, you know,
Okay.
a little bit older,
Yeah.
you know, but then we had the nice towels that, you know, sometimes had embroidery or sometimes had like lace sewn on them or something fancy.
Fancy.
Yeah, it was super fancy. I don't think that's a thing anymore. I don't know. You let us know.
Yeah,
If you're listening, let us know.
What's in your house?
Yeah, what's in your house? Do you bring out the fancy towels or?
I don't think I own fancy towels.
I mean, okay, I'm not going to lie. I own different towels. Like I have the everyday towels for like, you know, that we use every day. But then like if we are having a guest over, I might bring out the nicer towel. Okay. It's just still a regular towel though.
That you just don't use as much.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's just less used. Maybe that's it. I mean, it's clean and obviously, you know, it's just less, it looks less used because it is. So maybe that's it. I don't know. We're going off topic here a little bit. Anyways. But that's okay. That's okay. Down to that. Anyway, let us know if you're listening, if you still do the fancy towels for interesting topic. But anyway, moving on to topic 3, we're just going to, you know, pick your brain a little bit. This is a little bit of Seth banter.
Okay.
I'm doing a lot of talking. I want to hear you do some talking.
Okay. Sounds good.
You know, we got to even this out. So I got a couple questions to ask you.
Shoot.
Just to see what comes off the top of your head. So the first one kind of relates to real estate is what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen at home that you can say on podcast? Okay. You know, PG version.
Right.
Maybe rated G. I don't know. But what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen? I mean, there's some listing pictures out there that are like contain some interesting things in people's homes. I mean, and I'm sure they love them and that's great, but.
Yeah. So I would say the most interesting thing I've ever seen is a full wall with a mirror on it. Like an entire wall in a living room with a mirror.
Faux wall with a mirror.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't a full mirror. There's just slats to it. Oh. But it was an entire wall that had a mirror on it in the living room. But it was in the opposite side of where the TV would be. Uh-huh. And the couch would go in front of the mirror. So it's like if you walk into the living room, you'd be able to see the mirror in the backs of people's heads sitting on the couch. I don't know why it was there. Mm-hmm. I mean, it may have been like a rehearsal room.
Maybe.
For somebody?
Maybe. I don't know.
But no, I haven't seen too many crazy things.
It could have been also decorative. Like mirrors used to be a big decorative thing in like the 80s.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I know that's well before your time, but yeah, that was like a thing. People used to like make
most mirrors wins. You build a big box of mirrors or?
Yeah, I don't even know. We didn't have any in my house growing up.
No?
No. So we didn't get on that trend of the mirrors, but I do remember like a lot of people used to have like decorative wall mirrors. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe
I wonder if people still have them.
I don't know. Well, obviously.
Well, someone did.
Somebody did. Yeah. Maybe, maybe it'll come back into style.
It's true.
Maybe that's a thing.
Especially with all like the new TikTok trends and stuff of recording yourself. You could have this mega mirror.
Oh, you could have a mega mirror.
And it'd be flipped or something.
Interesting.
I don't know how that works. But.
Yeah. We had one set of listing photos one time in a property, and there was like a whole room full of dolls, but there was like one or two that didn't have heads. Oh. That was a little weird.
Well, right, but how many dolls were there?
Oh, I'm talking like 50.
So relative, that's not bad.
Relative?
Yeah,
okay.
48 had heads, 2 didn't.
Yes, but then they were all just looking at you.
Well, sure.
I mean, except 2.
Well, it's still pretty good.
I mean, it was crazy. It was just, it's one of those pictures that you just look at and you're just like, oh, I don't want to look at it. Like, it's kind of not okay.
Mm-hmm. No, I get why it's not
I mean, but, super nice people selling the house. And the lady she just really liked collecting dolls, which was awesome. Like, I love that for her. I like
people with hobbies.
Yeah, I do. I love that too.
Yeah.
But, it was not for me. It was tough. It was a little tough. Like, 2 of them didn't have heads. Sad that I counted. Is that sad that I counted?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I just kind of needed to know.
Well, you got to know.
You got to know. Because if there's one, you're like, is there more than one?
Exactly. And if you find them when we're listing the property, you got to know how many you're looking for.
Well, that's also true.
Right.
That's also true.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Okay, my next question. This one's a head scratcher. I'm going to give you.
Okay.
Okay. So I want you to think about this if you're listening. If you had to eat a crayon, what color would you pick? and why?
Oh, man. Well, straight out of the gate, the color doesn't necessarily matter. I'm choosing based off the name of the crayon, like the flavor, right?
Oh.
So you could have...
How do you get there?
Well, because you could have a couple crayons that are, like green. I wouldn't want to eat green, but like green apple, slightly more appetizing to your brain,
You think so?
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, not that a crayon could be appetizing, but you're probably going to want to pick the one based with the most tasty sounding name, if that makes sense.
I mean, maybe.
So I personally would probably... I'm gonna mix and match. I'm gonna go half lemon, half lime.
Ooh, is there a crayon called lime? I don't even know.
I'm sure there is.
Sure there is.
Yeah, well, it's like kind of that lighter green, I'm sure.
I mean, I'm sure there's some that just sound like less appetizing.
Right. So I'm gonna make myself a Sprite with a lemon and a lime.
Oh, I gotcha.
There you go.
Well, you could eat there's a pink one called cotton candy too.
Ooh, that's true. Or like a blue raspberry. That wouldn't be bad.
Maybe so.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we don't endorse eating crayons.
No,
so
I wouldn't eat crayons.
It's just a question. But,
right.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting because I was like, I think it would gravitate towards more brighter, lighter colors, not like brown or gray or, like.
Although, I mean, they do make those scented crayons. So like the brown one could smell like chocolate.
Well, it could.
And that might go down easier on the palate.
Oh, God. Maybe not.
I mean, honestly, there's extensive research that could be done.
I know.
But I'm going to go with hard to say.
You're going to go with hard to say.
Right.
Okay. That is your line. Okay. Let's see. Maybe one more quick question.
Okay.
Here it is. If it was possible, would you rather live underwater or in space?
Definitely space. 100%.
Why? Why is that?
I mean, don't get me wrong. The floating off into the infinite abyss would be terrifying, but the sheer volume and mass that would come with living underwater, like that pressure, if your, dome were to break. In space, it would be different because you'd just be sucked out and thrown into the abyss. But I mean, underwater, you're just crushed by that pressure. So, I mean, my mind immediately goes to what's more survivable.
Well, I mean, people already do live in space. I mean, technically.
And people do live underwater because we have people in submarines.
That's also true.
So,
that seems terrifying.
Right.
A little bit.
Right.
Props to those Navy
Props that live
there.
In space.
And, and to those people living in space. But
if I had to choose, though, I would probably go with space. It just seems...
less crushing.
Well, yes and no. Yes. Feeling, your body parts being sucked out with all that pressure would not be great.
Probably
either.
not.
No, but I mean, when it comes to the interesting factor as well, I mean, living in space would be, I think, a lot more interesting than living underwater. Just because, I mean, most of that, while it's still been, unexplored by man underwater, we still have a relative idea of what's down there. But when it comes to space, I mean, realistically, nothing is out there close to you.
It's true.
So if something were to come,
well, maybe
it would be a lot more interesting.
Right.
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 Or like getting to see an event that you typically couldn't see. That would be very cool too.
That's true. I do enjoy that. 100%. So, okay. Yeah. What about you? Would you rather live underwater or in space if you're listening? I don't know. Me personally, I don't know. It's hard. Like maybe space though.
Right.
I feel like maybe space, but underwater would be cool too. I guess I would want to be like, like I could like breathe underwater. Like, that would be different if you were like, you could like interact with all the things. Like,
well, and you got to think accolades, right? If I live in space, I'm an astronaut. If I live underwater, I'm a diver.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like,
yeah,
it depends on which kind of prowess you want to have.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
True. Yeah. Mad props to those people doing that stuff though,
Definitely, 100%.
Definitely not on my radar. So love that for them. But Okay. Let's see. This upcoming week, did you know that September 5th is National Cheese Pizza Day?
Cheese pizza.
Cheese Pizza Day. September 5th.
I do like pizza.
Yeah. How do you feel about cheese pizza?
I think it is the most pure form of pizza. It's got the least amount of toppings. Yeah. So you can I would vote that you can judge a good pizza place by its cheese pizza.
Yeah, I think so.
Because toppings can cover a lot.
Okay.
So if they have an excellent cheese pizza, everything there is probably going to be excellent.
Love that.
There's a lot less to hide with a cheese pizza.
Do you have a favorite cheese pizza place or cheese pizza place here in the Springs that you like to go to or frequent?
Yeah.
One that just stands out?
Whichever one I'm at.
I love that.
I mean, we have a ton of great pizza spots here.
Yeah, we do.
So.
For sure.
I like, not sure if you've ever been, but Slice 420.
I've heard about it.
They have a cool mission if you want to look into it.
Really?
They're pizza with a mission. So
I love that.
I'll
have to look that up. I will.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah.
So I might have to check that out on September 5th.
They've got some good za.
Cheese Pizza Day. Got to do the za. So, and then Labor Day is coming up this weekend. So this will be after that. But so hopefully we have a good weekend. But yeah, all righty. Let's see. And then I have one brain buster for you. I know I'm just throwing you under the bus.
Okay.
Now here it is.
Keep going.
This is it. What is a group of ferrets called? You know, like lions, they have a pride, and ferrets. What is a group of them called?
Do I get clues with this one too? Or?
I mean, you could honestly say they were the first entrepreneurs.
It's not like a partnership or corporation, is it?
You're close, though. You're really close.
Okay.
No thoughts?
No.
No thoughts?
No.
They're actually called a business.
Oh, simple enough.
I love that, right?
Right.
Yeah, a group of ferrets is called a business. That's why they're called the first.
How many ferrets do I need to make a business?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. It depends on the business you're trying to make. Boom. All righty. Anyway, I think that kind of wraps us up for today. Any other thoughts? Any final things nuggets you want to throw out there?
No, now I'm just thinking about ferret business.
Ferret business and za.
Right.
And some za.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How many ferrets would you need to run a pizza place? Pizza parlor, pizza establishment?
I don't know.
I didn't get the option of I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like you'd need a business.
Oh, what a cop-out answer.
You know you like it. That's funny. So, all righty. That's it for today?
Yep.
I think so. All righty. Well, we want to thank everybody for listening to us today. It's our first go around. We're going to get better as we go along.
Sure.
So just going to kind of keep picking the brain of Seth here, bantering with him. Enjoy that. Trying to learn some things. And, next week we're going to continue our discussion on, steps of buying a home.
Okay.
Kind of started there.
So it's like a series.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's definitely a series. This is episode 1 of, many. You said many. So
it's true.
Yeah, we want to do a series.
Okay.
Kind of just run through buyers, and then, we'll run through the selling process a little bit. And, because that's our goal. We want to just help people realize their dreams and
right.
help them get there with the appropriate steps, because a lot of people just don't know. So definitely want to help them. So again, thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed us, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Demetrellis Homes, or give us a call at 719-500-7129, or shoot us an email at demetrellishomes@gmail.com. Kind of a theme there, Demetrellis Homes. It's kind of hard to spell, but once you find it, you can guess it and put it in there. So we'd love to hear your answers for some of our questions today. We're going to put those out there and see what everybody has to say. Love to hear what people say so we can talk about it next week. Kind of recap.
I'd like to hear about the crayons.
Yeah, I really would too.
I want to know what flavors people like.
Yeah, well, what color crayon would you eat and why? Please don't eat any crayons. We don't,
We do not condone that.
No, not at all. No, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to go get some za, though, for sure.
Oh, yeah. September 5th.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Cheese Pizza Day.
September 5th, Cheese Pizza Day. I love that. So, all righty. Well, thanks for joining me. I'm Shelly Demetrellis, and
Seth Demetralis.
Yeah, we're happy to you were with us today.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in to Bricks and Banter.
Absolutely. Bricks and Banter. That's kind of what we covered today. So we'll just leave with our, disclosures. Seth and Shelly, we're licensed realtors in the state of Colorado. We assume no responsibility or liability for any errors or omissions in the content of this podcast, and information contained in this podcast is purely for entertainment. Seek legal counsel for official information related to any topic discussed. Of course, we want you to be on the straight and narrow. So join us again next week. Come find us, Demetralis Homes, at Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
See you next time.
See you next time. Enjoy your cheese pizza.
Will do. You too.